You know, I really hoped I wouldn't have to make this video. After the disaster that was Alien, after they systematically made every man in that movie look like a fool to prop up their perfect female protagonist, I thought, okay, maybe they'll listen. Maybe they'll read the room. Nope. They doubled down. They heard our complaints and they decided to spit in our faces. I've just watched Aliens, the inevitable sequel, and folks, it's a masterclass in agenda-driven character assassination. They took the one thing that could have saved this franchise, a unit of elite hardcore Colonial Marines, and turned them into the biggest bunch of incompetent clowns I have ever seen on screen. All in service of her. Again. So, where do we find Ripley after the events of the last movie? She's been turned into a completely unlikable, shrill, trauma-obsessed shrew. She yells at corporate suits. I mean, they're bad guys, we get it. You don't have to be so on the nose. And she wakes up from nightmares screaming. This is what the writers think is a personality. Being angry and damaged. So when they ask her to go back to the planet where it all happened, she of course says no. Until the smarmy corporate suit Carter Burke, another cliché, guarantees her that she'll be going with the best of the best, an elite military unit, the Colonial Marines. And for about 5 minutes you get a glimmer of hope. You see these Marines, they're tough, they're arrogant, they have cool gear. You think, alright, finally, we're gonna see some real soldiers handle this problem. You meet Sergeant Apon, the tough-as-nails leader. You meet Hicks, the quiet professional. You meet Hudson, the cocky tech guy. And then you meet Vasquez. And that's your first giant waving red flag.
See, the writers have a problem. They have to make Ripley the most special woman in the room, but they also have to hit their diversity quota. So what do? They create Vasquez. A character who is so over-the-top masculine, she makes the actual men look like little boys. She's got the muscles, the swagger, the giant gun. It's like they're screaming at you, see, a woman can be a man. Isn't this progressive? It's not a character. It's a caricature. It's embarrassing. And what happens when these ultimate badasses finally get into a fight? They completely fall apart. The lieutenant in charge, Gorman, is a nervous, book-smart rookie who panics and becomes utterly useless the second the shooting starts. The sergeant gets taken out immediately. Hudson, the cocky one, turns into a whimpering, crying child, screaming, "Game over, man!" over and over. They are completely, totally, and hopelessly outmatched. So who has to step in and save this entire unit of elite, highly trained men? Who do you think? Ripley, the civilian consultant who's been having panic attacks this whole time, suddenly has to drive a giant armored vehicle, navigate a collapsing structure, and rescue the few surviving soldiers all by herself. The military men, they just get to be baggage for her to save. Every single one of them is written to fail so that she can look competent. They are props in the story of her greatness. From that point on, the men are secondary.
I want to introduce you to a personal friend of mine. This is an M41A pulse rifle, 10 millimeter.
What's this?
That's a grenade launcher. I don't think you want to mess with that.
I can handle myself.
Hicks is fine, I guess, but he's quiet, and he basically just defers to Ripley on everything. He gets injured and has to be protected by her for the last act, of course. And the whole thing culminates in the most forced, emotionally manipulative plotline I've seen all year. The surrogate motherhood garbage with the little girl Newt. They knew they'd made Ripley unlikable, so they just dropped a cute kid into the movie for her to protect. That's it. That's her whole motivation now. It all builds to a final battle that is literally a catfight between two angry moms, Ripley and the giant alien queen, fighting over their kids. And just to make sure you get the message, Ripley gets to pilot a giant robot suit and yell a cringy one-liner that I'm sure was written by a committee. "Get away from her, you bitch!" Wow. So empowering. This film is an insult.
It's an insult to the military, it's an insult to the audience's intelligence, and it's an insult to storytelling. They took a simple, terrifying concept and buried it under layers of woke sludge, emasculating an entire platoon of soldiers just to make sure one woman could be the hero. Again. Save your money. Don't encourage them. They're not even trying to hide the agenda anymore. Jet out.